Welcome to Global Med Talks, the podcast where we embark on a journey through the world of medicine and beyond. I'm your host, Haider Ali, and I'm excited to be a guide as we explore a diverse range of topics, from sharing personal experiences to diving into medical stigmas, controversies, and beyond. In some episodes, I'll try to bring on guest speakers, I'll try to dissect hot button issues, and share practical tips for navigating both medical school and life. Hey everyone, so welcome back to another episode of Global Med Talks, and today we're diving into a topic that's close to the heart of every international medical student: expectations versus realities of studying abroad. Now, we all had these preconceptions before we leave, right? The excitement, the visions of new adventures, the academic achievements we've dreamed of, but how does that compare to what actually happens when you're abroad? So today we're going to figure that out by talking about everything from having fun, making friends, to dealing with the workload, finding free time, and overcoming language barriers. So let's get into it. Alright, let's start with something we all thought about before going: having fun. I think it's safe to say that for most of us, the idea of studying abroad was more about the experience than it was about the academics. We imagine, well, I certainly did, the weekends being filled with traveling, discovering new cultures, chilling with your friends, meeting awesome new people, and making memories that would last a lifetime. And to some extent, that's true, but the reality is a little different in some areas and a lot more different in others. The truth is, the fun is there, absolutely. There's an undeniable vibrancy in living in a new country, and the opportunities for adventure are endless. Whether it's trying out the local food, going to a local market, trying out new things, or just exploring the city's hidden gems, there's always something to do. Plus, if you're coming from a small town and moving to a capital city like me, the amount of things that you can do now is way more than what I could have done back home. So at first glance, it does seem fun. For example, the first time I tried skiing and snowboarding was when I moved out abroad. The first time I saw a car drifting performance was abroad. The first time I played professional pool and snooker was abroad. Like, there's so many examples simply because these things were hard to find or to do at home. So that does making living abroad fun. But, and it's a big but, it's all about finding that balance, because the academic demands of medical school, it's not a joke. Like, you quickly realize that fun isn't just about going out every night or traveling every weekend. It's about those little moments that keep you sane amidst like the craziness, like grabbing a late night snack with a friend after a study session, or taking a quick walk to clear your head between classes. You learn to appreciate these small breaks because they are what keep you grounded. You're simply just not going to find the time to do all this stuff on a frequent basis. It does really depend on many things, and this is being one of them. Also, just to bring up another restricting factor here, and obviously this depends on your circle of friends, but not everyone's going to find their group per se. And what I mean by this is that many people just won't be able to vibe with each other as they want. Many secretly hate each other, many people don't even have friends, many are trying to find friends and are failing to do so, but will settle for mediocrity or surround themselves with people that they don't even particularly like or respect just to fill the void of being alone. So it really depends on you and the situation that provides that knock-on effect and determines if you're going to have fun or not. Not to say that you cannot have fun while being alone. I mean, many people do. I know I do. I tend to go for walks alone. I tend to go to the coffee shops alone because seeking that solitude is also it keeps me at peace, and I find that fun. And many people out there also might be on the same page as me. Many people might not, but everyone's different. So while the expectations of constant fun might not align perfectly with reality, the experiences the experiences that you do have are often more meaningful because they're hard earned. Oh well, that's what it should be like. Um, the key is to enjoy the ride and find joy in the moments you do get, even if they're fewer than you originally imagined. Now let's talk about friendships. And I already did sort of touch on this a few moments before. Moving to a new country, it can be a bit of a double edged sword when it comes to making friends. On one hand, it's a fresh start, an opportunity to meet new people from all walks of life with diverse perspective and experiences, and on and on the other hand, it can feel daunting, especially when you're in an unfamiliar environment. And I think it's harder for introverts to make friends than it is for extroverts for obvious reasons, of course. You might have expected that making friends would be just like it was back home, easy, natural, effortless. But the reality is, it often requires more effort because you're in a new place with new social norms and possibly a language barrier, and that can make the process like a bit more harder. But here's the thing: the friendships that you do make are often incredibly strong because they're built on shared experiences. There's a certain thing that develops when you're all going through the same challenges, whether it's struggling with the same coursework, or you're navigating the same cultural differences, or you're dealing with homesickness. These bonds can become your lifeline and your support system, and they might start in the most unlikely of places, in a group study session, for example, or when you randomly meet someone in the cafeteria, or even a shared frustration over a tough exam, but they often turn into deep, lasting connections. But like I said before, it's rare to find like a really good friend due to the reasons I've just stated. It's not always sunshine and rainbows. Some people are just there because they have nowhere else to be, and I've realized this a lot when it comes to friends, especially with my circle of friends. I have a very, very few close friends. May God bless them, and they know who they are. But most of the people are just there, and it's almost like I'm forcing an interaction that they don't want, or they're putting this fake mask on, pretending to be someone that they're not. And most often than not, it might be because they just want to fill the void of being alone too, just like you and me. Or maybe they find that you're alone and they're just trying to have a conversation with you. So if that's the reason, thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate that. Please keep coming up to me. So we should put these judgmental thoughts to a side and just try and talk to that person who's a bit quiet, or that person who feels that they've got no friends because they really need someone to talk to. And it would be a lot better if we all just looked out for one another, because you never know. A simple hello can change someone's entire day. It is really hard to find like-minded people when you're abroad, because you meet people from all walks of life. They like different things, they'll dislike different things. So naturally it is challenging to find someone that you can connect with on a deeper level. But what if you look at this from a different perspective? Wouldn't it be cool having friends from all around the world? Wouldn't it be cool learning about their cultures too? What if that's the beauty of it all? Now let's shift gears and talk about the academic side of things, the education and workload. I think we can all admit that we had some expectations here too. Maybe you thought studying abroad would offer a more relaxed pace, or perhaps you imagined it as a way to escape the high pressure environment back home. But let's be real, medical school is going to be demanding and it's going to be hard no matter where you are. The workload is intense, and I'm putting emphasis on that word intense because it really is, and the expectations are high. So you quickly find out that there's no escaping the long hours of studying, the back-to-back lectures, the seemingly endless exams, and many European unis have this thing called oral exams, which is where you get brought up to the front of the class and you get tested orally on the last week's topics. So the doctor will ask you questions. Okay, describe to me the steps of glycolysis or label this picture, and he'll have like a picture of a heart on the board if it's like an anatomy class or something. So you get the gist of it. So you're constantly just kept on your toes by making sure you're prepared for these, and it does take out like a large chunk of your time. But what's interesting is that the work might be grueling, but it's also incredibly rewarding. The instruction style might differ from what you're used to, but some programs might offer a more pragmatic approach, others might focus heavily on the theory, but it all contributes to a well-rounded education. So, what really sets studying abroad apart is how it forces you to adapt. You might be dealing with language differences, unfamiliar teaching methods, or even different approaches to patient care, or depending on where you're studying. So these challenges push you to develop strong study habits, and improve your time management and become more resilient. There have been numerous occasions where people have come up to me and said that the work is too much to handle, and I've always said the same thing to everyone. These hard times are preparing you to become a better doctor in the future. Because after every hard time, you do figure it out and you make some changes to your habits that help you overcome the hardships, and then before you know it, you face another challenge. So each hardship in this constant sort of cycle, it teaches us a lesson and it provides us with an opportunity for growth. So instead of asking why this is happening and saying it's too hard, I want to give up, say, okay, how can I overcome this? How can I be a better person after this? And, just embrace the challenges that come, because it's going to make you into a better doctor and a better student. So it's not just about surviving the workload. It's about thriving in an environment that constantly pushes you to grow. So yeah, the reality might be tougher than you expected, but it also prepares you in ways you might not have anticipated. You're not just learning to be a doctor, you're learning to be adaptable, resourceful, and capable of handling whatever comes your way. So moving on to the next part, freedom and independence. One of the most exciting things about moving abroad is the prospect of freedom and independence. It's something we all look forward to, finally being on our own, making our own decisions, living life on our own terms. But as with most things, the reality is a bit more complex. Sure, you have the freedom to do what you want, no more curfews, no one telling you how to spend your time, but with that freedom comes a new level of responsibility. Suddenly you're in charge of everything, from managing your finances to making sure you're eating right and staying healthy. And let's not forget about the academic responsibilities as well. So you got to keep up with your studies, you got to prepare for your exams, you got to meet deadlines. And if you're not already good with managing your time, then there's a good chance that you're going to struggle. So this level of independence, it can be empowering, but it also can be overwhelming. You quickly learn that self-sufficiency isn't just about doing things on your own. It's about making smart decisions, setting priorities, and staying focused. It's about finding a balance between enjoying your freedom and staying on top of your responsibilities. But the thing is, this independence is also what helps you grow the most. You become more confident in your abilities, more capable of handling challenges, and more aware of what you need to do to succeed. It's a learning curve for sure, but it's one that ultimately shapes you into a more mature individual, and it's good for personal growth. Finally, let's talk about the experience of settling into a new country and dealing with the language barrier. So moving to a new place is exciting, but it can also be a bit overwhelming. There's so much to take in, the culture, the customs, the way people interact, and it can take some time to adjust. Language barriers can add an extra layer of difficulty, even if you speak the language. It might be regional dialects or cultural nuances that take some getting used to, but most of the time the main challenge is actually learning the language. You might ex- you might expect that no one speaks English and learning the language is super hard, especially if you haven't learned another language before. Although it is hard, there is a support system out there, both by teachers and the staff at the university and by the locals. There's many people in Tbilisi, Tbilisi being the capital city of Georgia, that know English really well, and they will be more than grateful to help you to learn the language. And I'm pretty sure it's a sort of a similar situation in many other countries too. If it's not, let me know. So it does make it a lot easier if they know the language, and if they know English, so they can help you out with that. And I have found that if you try to learn the language and put the effort in, they will be more willing to help you out with anything that you need, especially in Georgia. If you speak a bit of Georgian as a foreigner, you're automatically the best friend. And I've made some amazing Georgian friends because of that. I know it can be frustrating at times, especially when you're trying to communicate in a medical setting or when you're out and need to interact with the public and they don't really know English. Even though you do have like translators, like you have Google Translate and you have people in the hospital setting that will translate for you, you might find that students who can speak the language are more favourable to the doctors and therefore get more exposure and experience that sets them ahead. But here's the thing, this adjustment period is a normal part of the process. It's okay to feel out of your element at first. Everyone does. The key is to be patient with yourself and to take it one step at a time. Practice the language as much as you can, immerse yourself in the culture, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Over time, you'll start to feel more comfortable in your new environment. The place that once felt foreign will begin to feel less foreign. I was about to say feel like home, but it'll never really feel like home. And the language that once seemed daunting will become more familiar. It's all part of the journey. And while it might be challenging at times, it's also incredibly rewarding. That's a wrap for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, leave us a review and share it with your friends. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to reach out to me on social media or drop an email. Stay curious, stay inspired, and until next time, keep exploring the world around you. This is Heda Ali signing off. Take care and see you in the next episode.